K0JTA, KI6UM.
Okay, no, I hadn't turned on streaming. I do have streaming turned on right now, and I'm just getting the Win for ICOM application running, so if you see anything at all, it's going to say please wait and things like that. Okay, unable to connect to iPhone radio. Check your model. Good grief, one fool thing is another. I tell you what, maybe I should, I don't know what I should do here. This is really strange. First time this has happened. And I have not upgraded that particular application, the Win for ICOM suite. But it says here, unable to connect to the ICOM radio. Please check the model and CIV address is correct. Well, I have not changed that, but I'll click the OK and it'll give me a chance to refresh, and if nothing else, I guess I'll restart the application or restart the computer. But at any rate, right now I am streaming, but there's not much to see. KI6UM, K0JTA, over.
Okay, Mike, very good. Go ahead and do a refresh and see what happens, and I'll be listening.
Okay, here's an update. The COM port connected, but it appears that no one can reconnected to it. Please check CIV address. Okay. Alright, the program will now shut down. That's kind of, I can't hardly, can't resolve it if I don't have the program running. Oh well. Yep, I'll get back to you then as soon as I can. Sorry about the mess, but anyway, so if you're on live stream, you should be able to see at least something there, but it's going to be just a little piece of the screen, to make a long story short. I'm looking at the, well, actually I could go ahead and select the full screen. That might be better for you. K0JTA. Okay, I just switched to full screen, so now you can see my screen as it's being presented, but of course there's no for ICOM application that's running, so I'll try to get that running again here. Here's K0JTA.
I think we doubled there, Mike. But I can hear you on the live stream.
Okay, alright. Prerequisites, okay, setting. This is like it's lost all its previous settings, so that's rather interesting. Okay, online for remote, I gotta check that here. CIV, baud rate, 115, yeah, 200. I'm just gonna go and look at the radio here just to make sure I have that set up, but it's strange why something apparently has gotten forgotten here, but I'll just go ahead and check the, make sure that they're okay. K0JTA.
Yeah, I got you on the live stream pretty good. The audio is good, and of course I just see your display there. It's you're on your the display on your screen right now. I don't see the radio on the screen, but I can hear the audio okay.
Okay, yeah, but nothing on the screen. You don't see anything at all. Like right now, I'm looking at a Win for ICOM setup window that just popped up here when I restarted the Win for ICOM application. Over. I see the reason here is that I had just done a firmware update on this radio, and of course then it was a lot of these things were set back to defaults, and I think that's the reason why. So yeah, I got them set up now. So I got the oops, didn't tangle up my here. I have the connector rate and the uplink from ICOM or uplink from remote. I got that set up right, so that should be okay to go now. So I'm just going to give it a shot here. Here's K0JTA. as it is, yeah. Frequency is dialed in and this kind of stuff. Okay, so now you should be able to see the radio and this kind of stuff on the screen, hopefully. K0JTA, K0JTA. Nice not. Alright, I'll say CQ, the software defined radio net. This is K0 Juliet Tango Alpha, K0JTA. This net every Sunday at 12:30 local time on this frequency, 14.340 megahertz. And that would be 12:30 local time here in Minnesota. So it would be 17:30 Zulu or 18:30 Zulu, depending on the application or the use of daylight savings time. My name is Mike. I'm located in southeastern, and this is the software-defined radio net, which has to do with typically interest or use of software-defined radios. Anybody, I do have KSXUM that's on the list. Anybody else that would like to check into the software-defined radio net? This is K0JTA, over.
Bravo 6, Julie, Foxtrot Hotel. Good afternoon, Mike. Go ahead.
Hi, David. Got you written in. Pretty good signal today. Not wildly strong again, but I mean, at least it's 100. So, okay, anybody else out there? I'll come right back to you then, David, and anybody else out there would like to check in. This is K0JTA, over.
Whiskey 2, call Sugar.
W2GS, Mr. Reliable George. Good, George. Anybody else that would like to check in? K0JTA. Okay, nothing here. So, top of this will be Mr. Louie. Anything further to operator? And by the way, are you able to see the radio and this kind of stuff, at least at this particular point? KSXUM and the SDR net. This is K0. Over.
K0JTA and the software-defined radio group net. This is KI6UM. Good afternoon, Mike, and good afternoon, George. I copy you as well. And I was listening... live stream that was in and out. The audio is coming through, but the video, you still have your desktop display, not the radio display, but you have open on the desktop. Very good. Unfortunately, I have quite a bit of QRM from a station up at 143. There's one guy that's blaring all over the place, and he is very strong. Okay, pass it back to you, Mike, and you want to pick up George then. K0JTA and the software-defined radio group, KI6UM.
Okay, real good, and okay on them. Should be streaming at least some of this stuff here. It's not, I got to get the thing rearranged and get it in the proper position here, and I guess I'm going to have just to experiment here, I guess, to see if I can do about that. Yeah. See if I can, no, I guess it's not going to work. So it takes two hands. You've got to press the Alt key and then the needed areas. But anyway, so there's at least part of the screen is being shown here, but it's not being nicely done. Okay, David, WB6JFH, good afternoon. How you doing over there? Over.
K0JTA group.
This is me or good George? Go ahead.
Not very strong out here. Not sure if it's happening, but I'm using the Pi control for today to control the radio, and no progress on the antenna yet. No progress there either. Temperature is about 60 so degrees. We've actually had some rain in the last week, so that's helping the fires out here. Back to you, K0JTA in the group, WB6JFH. Go ahead.
Okay, real good. Okay, and the antenna progress. Your signal is actually quite good. I saw you as high as about an S8 here, so you're doing very, very nicely. I'm going to pass it on to Mr. George. And I tell you what, George, if I can ask you to take it, I have a little emergency I have to take care of here. So W2GS, if you would pick up the helm for me, thank you very much. I'll be back as soon as I can. K0JTA.
Okay, Mike. Very good. David, I could hear you in there kind of in the background. And Lou, you were coming in here pretty good. I've got some kind of mysterious signal on this frequency every now and then. And it just kind of shows up, and it's very, very low level. And when other are weak, it's hard to pick them up sometimes. So anyway, I'm not sure where Mike went off to. But anyway, Lou, how do you copy me? Whiskey 2 Golf Sugar.
Whiskey 2 Golf Sierra in the software-defined radio group K0JTA. Good copy, George. Yeah, you're a good 5'9". When the station above us, 43, is not on. But yeah, good copy. Yeah, go ahead, George.
Okay, here's K0JTA. I'm back. So, at any rate, let's see, George, I had passed it on to you, and I heard a few words there, but I was too far away to actually follow, or well, you know, just follow and get the whole picture. At any rate, W2GS, K0JTA. Good afternoon. But I don't know if it's too warm for you to be out biking today, or I don't know what your situation is going to be. W2GS, Net. This is K0JTA. Go ahead there, George. Over. Nothing heard. W6JF Fish, are you still there? K0JTA, over.
K0JTA, W6JF. Everybody puts a dime on it here, so I hope you're copying me, Mike. K0JTA group, W6JF.
Yeah, I'm hearing just fine. It's not wildly strong, but it's 100% copy. So, okay, how about Lou, KI6UM, K0JTA? Are you still out there? Over. I guess not. It's just you and I then. Okay, I'm taking the standby. This is Mike. My name is Mike, and my call is K0JTA. This is the software-defined radio net. Conditions are very poor, I know, but we still do try to struggle along and have an occasional meeting. Well, not occasional, but every Sunday we do make that attempt. At any rate, this is K0JTA looking for any possible check-ins or comments or relays for the net. Over.
Hey, Mike. This is George. Everybody keeps fading in and out here. I know you took a break, and I could hear Lou for a little bit and a little bit of David, and everything else is fading back and forth right now. And we got a little bit of noise right here on this frequency for me, Mike. Over.
Okay, what kind of noise? You mean it's just on this particular noise, on this, you know what I'm trying to say, just on this frequency, or is it something bandwidth, and is it also from another ham operator or some device? Over. You're not hearing me either. You're coming here just fine, by the way. W2GS K0JTA. Over.
Mike, I think you turned it back to me. I can barely copy you now. For some reason, the QSB or band conditions or whatever, it's about, it works for about a minute, and 3 minutes is gone. So I guess we're not going to be able to do a whole lot today, at least on this end, Mike. Back to you.
Okay, I'm seeing about S8, S9 here, so I'm hearing you just fine. Okay, well, I guess thank you for the attempt. I do appreciate it. This is K0JTA. This is the software-defined radio net. You can hear me if you'd like to check in. Doesn't matter if you have an SDR radio, software-defined radio, any interest in software-defined radio or not. If you'd like to check in, please do come ahead now. This is K0JTA. Over. Nothing heard. All right. Let's see, Lou or David or Georgie, if you got anything, come ahead. Otherwise, I guess we'll consider wrapping things up. And David, I'm still hearing you just fine, by the way. This is K0JTA standing by. Over.
K0JTA, WB6JFH. Okay, Mike, you're fading in and out too. That time you went down and the noise was sounded after, so I'm not sure if you're copying me or not. I can't hear Lou. George was there, and then he went away. And I know he's got a big signal with a big antenna, so bands are, I guess, really crummy right now. How copy? Go ahead.
Yeah, quite well, actually. You're S5 or so, and I see as high as about S7, S8, something like that. So I think S5 is about the lowest that I saw you. So you're doing very nicely, David. Over.
Okay, Mike, yeah. You came back up too. You're about an S5, S6 also. So I guess the path is good between us today. Something we haven't seen in a while with all the propagation issues and stuff like that. So anyway, that's good. And like I said, I'm using the Pi controller today to just exercise and play with it a little bit, stuff like that. No progress on the end. Like October, we might be able to get it up. See how it goes. Have you heard anything about the new protocol or anything like that? I haven't seen anything in the user group about it. And this is the weekend of the digital conference, so usually when they have digital conferences and stuff starts popping up out, I know if George could hear us, we could ask him. Back to you, Mike. K0JTA. WB6JFH.
Okay, WB6JFH and the SDR group. This is K0JTA. Okay, I'm running on my Raspberry Pi, by the way. It's working very, very, very nicely is all I can say on this end. So I know what you're talking about. What digital group or what group was this you were mentioning? And I did not understand it. So please expand if you would. K0JTA. Over.
K0JTA. WB6JFH. I was wondering about CFIS, the new software for the radio, for the computer, and then the new protocol 2 firmware for the radio. Whether there was, if George had heard anything about when this act out for us to try. mentioning that this weekend is the digital conference. I think it's in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's in QST and all the other magazines where they talk about digital nodes and software-defined radios and stuff like that. And usually, when that happens, then the new stuff starts popping up for us to try, like ham radio deluxe and, you know, all of them. So I was wondering if you heard anything about what was going on with CSIS. There's nothing going on in the Apache Lab user group on Yahoo system, so I'm just wondering if you or anybody else has. K0JTA in the group, WB6JFH.
Okay, WB6JFH and the SDRNet. This is K0JTA. Okay, on the digital group out there, and I think you said it earlier, someplace like that. But yeah, I guess if I had seen it, I kind of scanned over it because it's so far above my abilities and things like that. Of course, I had to do this as far as the products and things like that. But I mean, you know, I'm just I'm not smart enough to keep up with these guys. George had a lot of trouble hearing me. He said I was going down with the noise and this kind of stuff. I don't know if you're hearing here or not. But George, any further updates that you have heard as far as the package W2GS K0JTA, over? I think he's not hearing me, so yeah. And I don't know if you're hearing George, but he was having a rough time hearing me, and I don't think he was hearing anybody else. I'm not real sure. WB6GFH K0JTA, over.
K0JTA, WB6GFH in the group. Yeah, he said he had some kind of noise. It was right on the frequency and making it really difficult to copy the weak signals. And he was hearing Lou a little bit. I'm not. And that's not unusual for me. But you know, he was hearing me not quite as good as Lou. So he's having some kind of issue with noise, and our signals are not great to him. And so he's just not copying us, I guess. So anyway, that's what he said. I've been copying him, about the same as you. You know, I could copy him, so. But I'm not hearing the noise that he is. My planet after is clear. There's a noise source about 5 or 6 kilohertz above me, but it's not interfering here. And then there's a couple people around us and stuff like that. So anyway, yeah, I guess the bands they're just not friendly anymore, I guess. I guess we got to go through this for at least another couple of years. K0JTA in the group, WB6JFH, go ahead.
Yeah, that's about it. Well, I'm glad you're able to hear George. George always has such a tremendous signal, and generally speaking, he can hear me, but I can always hear him. My goodness, he develops a heck of a signal. Sometimes he's almost apologizing because he moves his antenna to favor California or in your area and this kind of stuff, and boy, he still just pounds in here like crazy. I'm sure it does make a difference, but when your signal is as powerful as his is, you know, it's just insignificant because I'm not sitting here measuring the number of dB in this. So as far as the thetis and this kind of stuff, yeah, who knows? I guess I really can't offer any further information because I you know, just do not know, I guess, basically. Yeah, I'm still just puzzling here over this. I'm looking at my, I guess, you know, it's a control panel or whatever like that for my my router / Wi-Fi, and what I'd like to do is turn off the Wi-Fi, and there should be some easy way I can do this here, but I'm just not seeing it. If I unplug it, well then that takes down the network, my local area network here, because you know, pretty much everything goes through my router because it's a switch, and then it also feeds another switch, which, you know, feed other devices here. So it's basically, you know, 2 simple switches that are hooked together, but this one simple switch has the Wi-Fi. So aside from rip the antennas off, I don't know of any means that I can do here to turn that. The reason is that I'm looking at my transmitter bandwidth here, and it's maxed out at 1 meg, and that's as much as I can do. You know, that's what I'm paying for. You have 6 meg download and 1 meg upload speed, and all too often showing just maxed out. So I just don't understand, or I don't know where in the heck this is coming from. I've tried unhooking things on the local area network here, and with that you can kind of isolate things, but I mean, you know, after you get pretty much everything unhooked, it's still showing it's maxed out. Well, it's I just happened to think just today, well, maybe it's a Wi-Fi thing then. So I just have to try to get that figured out here, but there's got to be some method. I'm not picking up on just exactly what. Maybe I'm trying to think here if I could rearrange my wiring and have yeah, I'm not sure. That thing still has port forwarding, which is weird. So I can't exactly just rip it out and just turn it off and bypass it, because once again it is functioning as a switch, which is hooked into another switch, which then feeds the rest of the stuff. So, but I can't just unhook it because it does have port forwarding in it. So, God darn it. Oh well, gotta sit and study this, I guess. WB6GFH, anybody else would like to check into the software defined radio net or any comments? This is K0JTA, over.
K0JTA, WB6GFH. Okay, Mike, I have no experiences with wireless routers and stuff like that. I have one, and I was trying to work on putting a network together here, but I just haven't gotten to it yet. So you have a lot more experience in that than I do. And as for George, you know, he usually has a really strong signal out here, but apparently not today. And I haven't looked at the space weather reports or anything like that to see what the K or A's indexes are, but it doesn't sound like it's pretty good. I was tuned down to the SaturnNet to see what was going on with the hurricane, Florence and stuff. And yesterday I was tuned in there and had some good signals, but today they're really weak, so you can't really tell what's going on. Yeah, I kind of wonder if George is kind of, you know, he's where, in Mississippi, right? So if he's probably not involved with the hurricane directly, but might be getting some fallout from that too, I guess. I don't know. The pictures you see on TV, it went that far west or so. So anyway, that's all we have right at the moment. So back to you, Mike. K0JTA in the group, WB6GFH.
Okay, real good. WB6GFH and the SDR net. This is K0JTA. Yeah, your signal still holds up really nicely at S7 or so it's pretty darn consistent, minimal QSB at that particular time. And okay, on the folks out there out on the East Coast, we've been dealing with that hurricane. I was thinking that, boy, it's going to be tough to get a signal out of there on amateur radio if you're in that particular area, that is, because, you know, I'm sure that the antennas are going to really be taking some abuse. And, well, also then, do they have power and things like that? I watched the national news, I think it was last night. Yeah, I think so. And no mention of power outages, but it's just an assumed kind of a thing, I guess. Or at least if it was mentioned, not copy it. But yeah, at any rate, so yeah, as far as this Wi-Fi thing here, I know that earlier my wife's computer upstairs had her Wi-Fi turned on, but she's also hooked up to an Ethernet cable. So I think we had turned that on sometime back with an unrelated experiment, and so I did turn that off, and I think it's still off, but I'll have to go up there and just make another check. But yeah, with these things you should be able to turn off the Wi-Fi. I mean, yeah, to turn off the Wi-Fi radio itself. I'm probably looking right at it here, but there's so many things that are, you know, so many choices and so many settings and menus and just, you know, page after page of stuff, and if you scan it too quickly without reading everything, well, I'm missing these things, I guess. So, oh well, what are you going to do? But it would be nice to get that taken care of. It would be nice, that's all. Yeah, I'm just surprised how your signal is just really holding up nicely. And okay, and you're not being able to have any as far as the antenna. Well, I guess you've done as much as you can there. You got it pretty well assembled, and yes, it's a good thing it's assembled off the driveway, because this would be a heck of a hardship, because it's going to be not just a temporary a weekend or something like that. This is a big deal. It's going to be taking more of your time. So, I mean, you know, longer span of time. But, yeah. KFH and the SDRnet. Anybody else like to jump in no time? Otherwise, David, go ahead. This is K0JTA, over.
K0JTA in the group, WB6KFH. Okay, yeah, like I said, I don't have any experiences with Wi-Fi routers, things like that. I rely on my ex-brother-in-law, who is an IT person. He has all kinds of experience, so he said he would come out and help me to set this all up someday when I get to that point. Use his expertise in that area. So, and as for the hurricane and stuff, last night they said there was about 1 million people without power in the Carolinas. And but the flooding's the big thing right now. It's just pouring rain, and 15, 20 inches of rain in a 24-hour period or something like that. And, well, I've never seen anything like that out here. The Pacific Northwest, you don't get storms like that. So, yeah, and with all the wind and power outages, I imagine ham radio is very minimal at the moment. Probably just people with bubbles or set up a remote site, like field day or something like that. What we prepare for helping out in emergencies. But I haven't heard that. The hurricane net closed down because now it's not a hurricane. So the Saturn net is doing the health and welfare stuff. And I could barely hear him this morning before he tuned up here for the net. So wherever they are, they just don't have a strong signal out here in the Northwest right now. I thought the other night when it was going on, I tuned up to 60 meters, 60 meters. And FEMA, because it's a shared band between us and the government and FEMA, I did pick up some FEMA stuff on 60 meters. It was weak, but I could hear it was tactical type stuff, like sending people into a community to look for people that are stuck in their houses or cars or whatever, stuff like that. So that system is working, and because it's a shared band, we can work with them directly. In fact, there were some exercises done last year with the hams and the FEMA folks, and it worked out really well. So, but this morning I was listening on 60 and I couldn't hear a thing. So it was last night, and I guess the propagation was good enough. So anyway, your signal is holding up right now, bouncing from an S4 to an S6, so it's staying pretty consistent as well. I guess everybody else lost it, so just too much. Just not like it was several years ago when I first started checking into the net. Back to you, Mike. K0JTA in the group WB6KFH. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's about the way it is, I guess. Well, hopefully it's not due to lack of interest. Hopefully it's due to the propagation. I guess today we're probably pretty well soundly proving that, but the propagation certainly has been crappy. I know years ago we used to, be able to get people from the West Coast, it's the East Coast in here as well as the West Coast, and even some, there was a couple times you had South America and a couple times South Africa even, and Europe, and, so it was, that's back when the bands were actually active and workable. During the noon hour here, it's probably the poorest time as far as being able to work DX. So that's the way it goes. So that's for another reason. Interesting though, on going down to 60 meters and being able to share the activities and with a direct connection, in other words, to the folks. Very, very, very interesting. And I did not realize that the female folks were had that kind of communications. And I guess it would be very logical, but if they're on HF, well, it makes a lot of good sense then. So yeah, very, very, very interesting though. So yeah. At any rate, I'll have to look at this thing a little bit later on here and figure out as far as the Wi-Fi, turning it on. You know what I should do? Actually, I should use good old Dr. Google. I could go in there and Google it, and in my case, my Wi-Fi router is made by TP-Link, but I have put on a different set of firmware. And I think it's DD-WRT. So DD-WRT is what I'm running, and that's because it has abilities and it's a lot more stable. The existing software or firmware rather from TP-Link was kind of bothersome. I know there's a friend of mine had issues. He would have to reset his about every month. In my case, I had to reset mine maybe every, not quite a year, but anyway, so that's another thing. It's just telling you that this is not exactly a new piece of equipment, so I suppose I should just break down and get something newer, which might be more stable and work better and things like that. Somebody was a short time ago was talking to me about setting up something, and the conversation points, rather, you might say, where that basically the newer stuff is getting to be better behaved and more user friendly, and this stuff, whereas this DWRT that I was mentioning, that's probably pretty darn geeky stuff, and it's been okay for me, but due to just the sheer complexity and the number of screens that you can go through, well, that's good up to a point maybe, but it's just all the stuff that's being presented almost is almost overwhelming. So WB6TFH, K0JTA, go ahead there, David, over.
K0JTA in the group, WB6TFH. So very good, Mike. Yeah, like I said, I'm not familiar enough with the routers to understand all the stuff you're telling me. I know that there's the 802Gs and Ns and stuff. And my ex-brother-in-law has been telling me that the latest stuff has better security and more stable. So, can't talk. I was given this router from a neighbor. It's an older one. He said it'll work, but if I'm really going to get serious, I should buy one of the new ones, and kind of like Netgear, things like that, and get all the latest and greatest stuff, and then I won't have to worry about security, and it'll be more stable. It's easier to use and easier to set up for networks, stuff like that. You know, with the Pi controller here, I could set it up so I could have the controller in the living room and have the radio in the radio room and use the network to communicate, or even, you know, in the summertime go out on the front deck and work it and stuff like that. So, and still thinking about trying to work it while I'm at the clinic and stuff like that, you know, like we talked about earlier. But things have just been, you know, antennas and clinic and stuff like that. It's just, you know, it's just taking the time to get through all this stuff. And so I'll get to it eventually, but, you know, priorities are always changing and that kind of stuff. You know how it goes. So anyway, I'm kind of babbling now, so I'll go ahead and turn it back to you. K0JTA in the group, WB6TFH, go ahead.
Okay, real good. WB6TFH and the SDR net. This is K0JTA. I'll take a quick standby. Anybody would like to check in? Coming in now. This is K0JTA standing by. Over. Nothing heard. Okay. Yeah, no, that's interesting. Okay, I'm using a radio there at the clinic, and I know that when I had my Raspberry Pi hook up here, the Wi-Fi that's built onto the Raspberry Pi computer is relatively poor. So I had tried going for an external, and I don't know if I actually tried it. I know I had one here, and it winds up that I wound up using it on a different computer, but you can get a plug-in Wi-Fi adapter and plug into one of the 4 USB ports there, and that might be what you're looking for. And also, like your relative there that has your IT support, you might say, maybe then you can graduate to a Mode G or whatever it's going to be, and with that, then maybe that's the thing that's required. But I know that at first the comments were always that the Raspberry Pis, it did have Wi-Fi, but it was just barely. So we had Wi-Fi, but it wasn't working worth a hoot, I guess, what some users might have. And of course, when you're running a radio, you're running full duplex there, and you got a lot of stuff going on, and just probably too darn much stuff to make a long story short. So I did find one thing. it's running. Operating mode is right now, it's a gateway. I don't know if that's going to be here or not. But I have to do a search here and then to see if I can figure out how I can turn this darn thing off here. Turn off the Wi-Fi is just as a temporary basis. Because I know that, well, looking at active users here, for example, I see my wife's iPhone. I probably see my iPhone. And there's something else that was on there too. But aside from going and seeking these things out and turning them off, I don't know what else I can do. So, yeah, it'll be kind of fun. But it's kind of an interesting revelation here before. Just was thinking about the direct hookups, you know, the local area network, Ethernet cables only. Never even considered this Wi-Fi thing. So, you know, that tells you how sharp I am on this darn stuff. WB6GFH, this is K0JTA. Go ahead there, David.
K0JTA, WB6GFH. Okay, Mike, yeah, it's lots of studying and stuff like that for me. Like I said, I have no experience in wireless routers or routers in general, stuff like that. So, take a little time. Yeah, would you like me to put out a CQ for the SDR net? Maybe somebody can hear me, but they can't hear you.
Yes, by all means. I never even thought about it, so thank you very much for the suggestions. And okay, I'm using you're trying to use the thing there at the clinic, by the way. I know that I'm over with my chemo, so I'm no longer sitting there for 4.5 or 5 hours. More with that, I'm just taking chemo pills now, so I take those 2 times a day, take 4 in the morning, 4 in the evening, and then I'm on for 2 weeks, and then I get a week of back for another, what do you call it, another 2-week period. So it goes like that kind of a cycle. So it's still does affect me compared to the more direct chemo. That was pretty nasty stuff, and that just took me right down to the dirt. But yes, please do go ahead. K0JTA standing by, over.
Okay, Mike. This is Whiskey Bravo 6 Juliet Foxtrot Hotel for the SDR net. Is there any other people who'd like to check in that can't hear the net control but can hear me? This is WB6GFH standing by. Nothing heard here, Mike. Did you hear anything? Go ahead.
Not a darn thing. I'll make another call here myself here. CQ, the software-defined radio net. Anybody would like to join in, please give me a call. This is K0JTA, over. Nothing. So I think we just got, we got a pipeline here pretty much in between us. You're still holding up very nicely. At one point you went down to about an S3, but still very copyable and things like that, and you're back up to, you know, S5 plus here, so you're doing a heck of a nice job, even with your antenna, you know, elements all askew and this kind of stuff. So by the way, when I was using my radio remotely in the clinic, you know, when I was in the infusion center, you might say, at any rate, I'd use Team, and then TeamViewer for the video, then I'd use Skype for the audio. Well, TeamViewer now has yeah, they were, well, I guess it's back now, but TeamViewer had dropped off here for a while because they said I was using it for commercially and this kind of stuff. A good friend of mine, who's my guy, had the same issue, and we both wrote in. They had a chance to get right in, so we wrote in, so I told them that we're definitely not using it on a commercial basis, explain that we're just using it in our house and this kind of stuff, and you know, being able to support friends and relatives and this kind of stuff with a computer and this kind of stuff. That definitely was not a commercial thing. So, at any rate, so they're back on. But I would use TeamViewer, and that would hook up to my computer back home here, and with that I could control it, of course. And with the Skype, I would have the necessary receive and transmit audio. And it turns out then with the TeamViewer, I could not get audio through to my Android device. If I'd bring a standard computer, then I would have two-way audio, I believe, but I just didn't want to have to do that. So I just bring my little tablet, and that was just handier. So with a tablet, I'd run TeamViewer for the video, and then start up the Skype, and that would take care of the audio, and that worked out pretty darn nice, and people said it sounded okay and things like that. So you might want to consider that. You know, the bad thing you do have to leave the radio running. That's another thing I was thinking about here, is that with this remote software now, it's using this Win for Icon, for example. If you remotely access the computer, you can see your computer screen, of course, and then if you turn the Win for Icon suite application on, this then will be radio on. So you don't have to leave the radio on. But the other thing is that then you'd have to put a relay in here to disconnect the antenna for lightning protection and things like that. But that's something that could be done. I have not pursued that, but you know what I mean. WV6JFH, K0JTA, go ahead.
K0JTA, WV6JFH. Very good, Mike. Yeah, I was thinking of using TeamViewer. I have a tablet and trying to remote through the network to home from the clinic and just use the tablet, because if I take the Pi, then I've got to take a power supply for it, and there's not a lot of room around the stations there to have all kinds of auxiliary equipment. So the tablet would be the thing to do, or I could look at like an iPad or something like that, but no money for anything like that right at the moment. So that's what I was planning, is using the tablet, connecting here with TeamViewer and Skype. Use that like you were doing, and I have the earplugs plugged in, so the speakers wouldn't bother anybody else in the clinic. There's nobody else there as the ham operator, and they probably wouldn't appreciate and hear all kinds of noise and static crashes and all that kind of stuff that we get used to. So that was the plan, and I'm still looking to see if I could get an unlimited data plan through somebody. There's another company that's starting to advertise up here called Viasat or something like that, and I'm going to call them next week and see what they have to say for themselves and like that. And maybe they say they have an unlimited plan, and for data, and that would be what I would need, because my plan is only 5 gigabytes, and I could usually eat that up in about 2 visits to the clinic, and then I'd be out of this plan and stuff. So, like I said, I'm going to call them next week, or go online, whichever, and see what they have to say about this area and what kind of plans they have and that kind of stuff. So I haven't given up. It's just that I'm limited right now to how many gigabytes I can use in a month. And so that slowed me down. I was looking at other sites up here, but they said that so they live in the trees, that wasn't going to work. Kind of surprising that a company would turn you down, because they're looking to make money off of the subscribers, but in this case, as they said, it just wouldn't work. So we'll see. We're working on that. Still working on getting the beam back up and stuff like that, and waiting to see what happens with Thesis and try that out. Download it and install it and stuff like that. So yeah, a lot of things yet to do, plus running a house as well. So we just see how it goes. Go with the flow, as they say. And your signal is still up there, so I guess we do have a pipeline today for some reason. Maybe that's why we can't hear anybody else. I guess. I don't know. Anyway, back to you, Mike. K0JTA, WV6JFH. Go ahead.
Okay, real good. WV6JFH, and what's remaining of the software-defined radio net. This is K0JTA. Yeah, your signal is holding up nicely. There's some fading up and down and this kind of stuff, but lately now, the last few minutes, I've not lost a darn bit. I haven't had to strain to follow what you're talking about, things like that, so that's working out real, real well. And yeah, okay, as far as using the Raspberry Pi there at the clinic, well, also the big thing I think is that even if you try to use your Raspberry Pi there right in your house, if you have Wi-Fi access, hooking your Raspberry Pi up to your radio via, in my case, it was very, very, very poor. I could make it connect and this kind of stuff, but it was quite poor, and I think that was pretty much the consensus of other people that had made that same kind of a thing. So once again, I had the thought that I would use a plug-in Wi-Fi adapter, which might help out, but it could be that the computer, the little Raspberry Pi, is just, you know, strained, just keeping up with its basic duties, and maybe there's no more resources left over to be able to address the possibility or interface with a Wi-Fi device, be it built in or external. Yeah, the other thing you're talking about, that ViaSat. Okay, so now is this a wireless, or was something there, maybe the same one or something else, where they did not want to cellular service because it would not work? Apparently that was a wireless radio situation, and yeah, that's what I'm running here, and so it's working out okay here. By the way, when I first talked to these people, their desired plan is to use the 5 gigahertz frequency range. That has better throughput, bandwidth, things like that. But they said, okay, in the case of if you got a really poor location, because I was talking about my brother's possibility here of getting on. He lives further north east of us. Anyway, then he said that if he's in the and things like that, they could use the 2.4 gigahertz frequency plan, which would be slower, but at least it will penetrate buildings and trees and things like that better. So, but at any rate, so that's the way it goes. I noticed here a neighbor, he's got a 2.4 gigahertz antenna, and they actually installed it on a tree in front of his yard there. Well, it's working out okay, but putting on a tree is kind of on the strange side. But anyway, that ViaSat now, is that going to be a wireless thing, or maybe you don't know yet? But in our case here, the wireless thing was okay, and once again, we had the choice, or the thought, or they had the thought, that if the signal was not good enough on the 5 gigahertz, then they would drop me down to the 2.4 gigahertz, and they would use a parabolic antenna, just like what you see for Wi-Fi, you know. WB6TFH, K0JTA, over.
K0JTA, WB6TFH. As for this VSAT goodie, I'm not sure what it is. It's over the air, you know, but it's the one that I was looking for had their transmitters up on some of the hills around here. And this sounds like it's a more satellite type operation. You know, like Hughes network stuff, things like that. So, but I don't know much about it. All I see is the quick ad on TV, and I think there was an ad in the paper last week, and that's it. So that's why I want to call and find out what it is, and then find out, you know, would it work for me, and then actually find out how much it would cost, and that kind of stuff. So I'll check into that next week, either go online and see what they have to say, or call them on the phone and, you know, chat with them for a few minutes and see what it is, and, you know, what it would take, and whether I'd even be eligible for it. So right now I'm using a hotspot, and that uses the internet through the phone system, you know, through the cell system and stuff like that, and that's where I have limitations, is going through the cell network and stuff. It works, and, you know, I read my mail with it almost every day, and download updates to virus protection software and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, I hadn't heard about the Pi controller and the Wi-Fi there. When I was trying to get the new software and updated everything on thing using my Wi-Fi through the hotspot, it seemed to work okay. But the hotspot's in the other room, so it's pretty. So the signals were really good between the two of them, and it seemed to work. It didn't seem to be any slower than anything else. But you know, I'm not running high speed. I'm running a hotspot, so I'm, I guess, medium speed or something like that. And there's no cable out here where I live, so I got to do kind of wireless type stuff to make this work. And maybe someday there'll be enough people out here that they'll go ahead and put a cable network out here, and I could tie into that. But so far, that hasn't happened yet. So anyway, that's the details here about Wi-Fi and the getting into the network, stuff like that. It's still a lot faster in dial-up, though I was using for several years until I got into this stuff. And now I guess there still is some dial-up, but I don't even know who it is, whether it's still AOL or something like that. So we'll see. We'll do some investigation and see what this new system is and whether it works for me and whether I can pay for it. That's the way it goes, like you said. Anyway, we'll turn it back to you, and the signals are holding up. I'm surprised. Everybody else went away, but you and I are on the pipeline right now. K0JTA, WB6JFH.
Okay, real good. You're starting to fade here. You're going down to S3 and just slightly below that, but still it's an okay copy. It's getting to be right on the edge of being to some degree difficult, but I mean, it still is working out so far. But yeah, well, that VSAT, then you said it's wireless and this kind of stuff, and actually the name, it's going to be a satellite service. And I know my son was on satellite service, and his big complaint was that, well, number one, it was quite expensive. Of course, this is years ago, and also it was the latency was very poor. So in his case, he wanted to be able to use his computer at home to access his computers there at work. And he said the latency was just awful. So I don't know exactly how bad it would be, but that would be another consideration. So I don't know. I suppose it depends on. Well, I guess if you're dealing with a satellite, those geosynchronous ones, I think somebody said that it was like 2 seconds up to the satellite and 2 seconds back. And of course you got your overhead because it gets shared and translated or whatever like that. So the satellite thing could be dealing with a latency issue. But the big thing that I'd be afraid of is that would be the cost. I had looked into that too. Correct, it was a lot more money. In the case of our wireless, company's called the LTD, and they're out of southern Minnesota. It's a small enterprise, but they're in Iowa and Minnesota, and they're growing. But it's definitely a wireless service, like say using 2.5 gigahertz as far as frequency range. The thing we have up in the tower here now, it kind of looks like one of these white plastic colanders for vegetables, so it's kind of a strange looking little thing. Well, it's not bad looking, but it just, it doesn't have the general look, you might say. But my neighbor, he's got the same company, and in his case now, he's using the 2.4 gigahertz bandwidth antenna, and it looks like the traditional Wi-Fi antenna, a grid, in other words, or fly swatter or something like that. Big one, of course, like what, foot and a half in, side to side or something like that. WB6JFH, K0JTA. Go ahead.
K0JTA, WB6JFH. Okay, on the latency and stuff like that. See, I had a neighbor that we did in the Hue network, which isn't satellite. It worked fine until a storm came through. Because, we're up here in the north, and the antenna is pretty much parking as far as the horizon. And every time a storm came through, he would lose signal. Or, if the lights on the controller would be blinking off and on, and his computer would freeze up, and, or not freeze, it would just stop until everything caught up again. And he said that was the big disadvantage of the satellite. When you got a thunderstorm coming through, or even a snowstorm coming through, he would lose the signal. Intermittently, the kind of work he was doing, he could